Hmm. Oh, hi. It's 1 o'clock, time for the Deal Doctor Livestream. And you might be wondering why I'm wearing a Hawaiian shirt and drinking lemonade. I'm pretending to be on a beach somewhere. Now, I don't know about how many of you have this fantasy right now, but I'm guessing it's a lot. And the reason is that over the last couple of weeks of weather, having the kids home, car crashes, getting stuck, having to reschedule plans, we're all getting a little bit antsy with this winter. I think all of us have had enough. And I can tell that that's the case because of how my phone blows up. And agents are really upset with other agents. And I'll use a phrase that I liken it to, which is they tend to be kicking sand at one another in the sandbox. And yesterday I drove through a traffic jam. It was actually a 44-car pileup I drove through out at Lowell on I-96. And as I was working my way through there, I thought, this has really changed a lot of people's plans. The people that were involved in that traffic accident were probably headed somewhere, and now their plans have changed. And I imagine that all of us have experienced our plans requiring change as we have been without power. We've watched snow pile up. We've had our kids underfoot for 10 school days or more of snow days. And hello. And so tensions are high. And that's what I want to address today, because we have a choice in how we respond. Agents will sometimes trigger us. If an agent doesn't show up for a showing on your listing, it's upsetting. It's upsetting to you, who may have gone out there and shoveled the driveway and turned on the lights and all of those things. It's upsetting to the seller because they probably cleaned their home and prepared it for the showing. And it certainly is the professional thing to do that an agent would call you and say, something came up, one of the buyer's children got sick, we have to take the child to the emergency care or a doctor or whatever, got stuck in the snow, ran out of gas, got stuck in a traffic jam. All of those things are real. Life happens. And yet, if you're the listing agent, you can make a choice about how you're going to respond. And your response is just as important, plays just as much into it, the dynamics, as it does the agent who failed to call you when that showing got canceled. And where I'm going with this is professionalism. We owe one another professional behavior. And part of that is when you set up a showing, keeping in contact with the listing agent to make sure that they understand that you're going to be there, that they show up, that they leave a business card, and they provide feedback to you after the showing. That's a professional agent working for a buyer. Likewise, a listing agent has the responsibility to make sure the house is ready to show. And like many of you, I've gone out and used a snowblower. I remember, I think the longest one was about 200-yard driveway that in about 3-foot snow, that I spent 3.5 hours snow blowing so we could have a showing. And the sellers were in Tennessee. They were gone. So I was out there with a snowblower. And that's all professional stuff. Does that mean that you all have to get out and get a snowblower and do that? No. But you do have to have a conversation with your sellers about how you are going to accommodate showings. And then, in my view, you accommodate the conversation also has to take place with sellers that sometimes buyers and their agents aren't going to show up. Prepare them for it. Say, sometimes things happen. Sometimes they walk into a house and 10 minutes later they're buying that house. They're writing an offer. And they don't get to your house because they've just decided to buy that particular house. Life happens. And how we react to it will have a huge impact on our own health, on our own well-being. So I urge our agents to be professional in all aspects. If you're going to show up for a showing, be there. If somebody doesn't show up, don't go on a rant about it. Things happen. We don't know the circumstances in the moment. Take a higher road and say, this stuff happens. Sometimes agents will taunt you in order to engage you in what I call drama. A case in point, I've had realtors, I've called realtors and asked them to give me feedback on their showing. And they will go on a rant about how awful my listing is. It's overpriced, it's dated, it's ugly, it sits too close to the road. Now, I can engage in that conversation, or I can choose not to. It's a choice. I suggest you don't, that you avoid jumping on the drama hook when you are when you are baited with it. What I do is I say, thank you very much for showing the home. I really appreciate you showing it. I appreciate your feedback, and you have a great day. I don't need to prove that agent wrong or that I'm right. And I think that 5 Star as a company has the position that we always want to operate, and we always want to travel on the higher road. So I encourage you that right now it's very easy. Our nerves are frayed. We've all got cabin fever. We've had enough of this winter. We all want to be wearing Hawaiian shirts. And some of us, have been able to take vacations south, not to mention any names, Laura Ensley. Hi, Laura. I know. Anyway, so that's kind of what I wanted to mention here today and share with you, along with a couple of other little notes. But if you have questions, again, please fire them off. Dom will share them with me, and I'll do my best to answer them here. I wanted to mention Ninja is coming up in September. It is a powerful program. I and Ron Valerius went through the first Ninja installation over in Chicago with a company in Chicago. We were invited over there, and at Greg's insistence, actually, we went. And it is a powerful program. It's going to be in September. If you want to be a part of that, then I encourage you to start saving your pennies now. or even setting up some kind of a contribution from your closings between now and then so that you have the money available to pay for the program before it starts. It is talk to other agents who have been through it. It has the power to change your life. And I encourage anyone who wants to be in this business long term to learn what Ninja has to say, because it will help you balance your life, focus your attention on real estate when it should be on real estate, and family when it should be on family. So that's what I have to say about that. We're getting a lot of questions from agents on escalation clauses and how they work. And one of the questions that we got recently was, can a listing agent refuse to accept escalation clauses in an offer for presentation to their seller? And the answer is no, not unless they have that in writing from their seller. In other words, on the listing contract, the seller has to say, seller refuses to entertain escalation clauses. It has to be that direct, and they have to sign it. The agent does not have the right to add that requirement on the MLS and to state on showing time or on the listing that no escalation clauses will be considered. That's not our right as agents under the Michigan Occupational Code. I know that some agents, it can be very confusing, and they're not sure whether or not it keeps ramping up. It does, by the way. It keeps ramping up if you have 2 or 3 escalation clauses in competition with each other. Yeah, the answer is it goes up, ladders up. So I encourage you. Thank you very much. Appreciate it, Dallas. I don't know you. So if you have questions about escalation clauses, first of all, I would check the escalation clause language that we have for you in .loop under clauses. And if you still have questions about how they work, please give me a call and I will help you walk through it. But we do not have the right as listing agents to refuse presenting offers with escalation clauses in them unless it is specifically stated in the listing contract or in a letter signed by the seller. Okay? Oh, what else is going on? Who's got questions out there? Anyone? Anyone? Dom, I see Dom shaking his head. Anybody want to hear some Jimmy Buffett music? For some reason, I can't get my Spotify to work either here. So, what other fun stuff are we having to deal with lately? Oh, we got one today about assessments. There's the box that you get to check on assessments. And you can check that the seller is going to pay any and all assessments that exist on the property, and or that the buyer is taking over any assessments. This is a tricky one, and you need to know exactly what you're talking about when you get language that says that the seller is going to pay off all assessments, because what they're really talking about is any assessment which has been billed against the property and is due and payable, even though it is being paid in installments. For example, a water and sewer assessment. The homeowner may have been paying on that water and sewer assessment over a period of time. In their minds, they may perceive that they're only going to pay for the installation or installment plan. They're only going to pay the payment up until the time that they give up the property. But that's not what the buy-sell says. That's not what the purchase agreement says if you've checked the box that they're going to pay for the assessments. The assessment has, in fact, become a lien on the property. And so they are responsible to pay for it if you check the box that they're going to pay for it. So if you check the second box that says, well, they're going to pay for whatever installments haven't been paid, okay, then the buyer is going to take over the responsibility for any payments still due on that lien, which is against the property. So if you encounter that kind of a situation, you have to dig into it and you have to find out how much money is owed, how long this loan, essentially from the township or municipality, how long does it last? How many more years is out there? How many more payments? What does that amount to? And then share that information with your buyer to see whether or not they are in fact willing to take on that additional expense if that's what they get in a counter. Now, the difference is that in that case, we're talking about a long-term assessment levied by the municipality. But there's another kind of assessment which needs to be clarified. For example, if you live in a condo, your monthly association dues can in fact become a lien. They're not a lien when you're billed for them once a month. They're not a lien yet. So the seller is only responsible for that period of time until the next payment, and then the buyer takes that over. There are also some homeowners associations who have a private road agreement, and each person, just for easy math, each person is going to put in $1,200 toward the maintenance and care of that road. And they're going to break it out $100 per month. But they're going to levy that as a lien on the property at the beginning of the year. Well, in that particular case, it is a lien on the property as of January 1st. And then they're going to pay it off. Well, according to the way the purchase agreement is written, if you check the top box that says that the seller is going to pay off any existing assessments, they would have the responsibility to pay off that $1,200 because it's a lien on the property. However, normal thinking is, or I would say the majority of thinking is, that the buyer would take over and that portion that has been unpaid would become the buyer's responsibility once they close. Where I'm going with this is you have to be very careful and you have to be very clear in the purchase agreement who's going to be paying for what and when. It's not enough to simply check one of those boxes if there's a question about whether it's a lien or whether it's a monthly installment payment. So you got to dig deep. You got to find out if it's a lien against the property, if there's installment payments going on, if it's considered a normal monthly process, monthly payment, and then explain that language in your purchase agreement. Does that help? It's about 20 after 1. I'm going to check and see if there's anything else we can talk about here. Oh, let's talk about delayed offers. Let's pretend you take an offer on Monday and your seller says, you know, I want to do the open house on Sunday and I don't want to look at any offers until Monday. So you write up that language into the listing agreement. Seller requests no showings until whatever date and will not review offers prior to Monday. next Monday. And so everybody understands the rules. You post it on the MLS. You provide the documentation to the board that supports that seller's request in writing. Everything's great until Thursday, when two people come along and they may have never even looked at the property, and they each write offers $50,000 or more over the listing price. And they hand them to you, the agent. Now what do? Well, your seller has already made the statement that they're not going to review offers until Monday. So you do have every right to not present them until Monday. I would certainly pick up the phone and call them and say, hey, we've got a couple of offers here. Did you want to see them now? Or did you want to wait until Monday like you said? I think that disclosure is necessary under agency. Let's say that they say, we just like to take a peek at them. I just like to see. And lo and behold, they both are $50,000 or $75,000 over the list price, cash, no inspections, and we're going to do a dance in the front yard, a little happy dance if we win. I mean, that's exaggerating, but they're great offers. And so the seller says, I really want to take one of these offers. I don't want to lose these offers by waiting until the open house on Sunday and Monday when we were going to review the offers. What are you as the agent required to do immediately and before you accept either of those offers that you just got that are incredible offers? Well, number one, you have to get the seller to sign an amendment saying they've changed their mind, that they want to look at offers now. The second thing you need to do is to make sure that that is broadcast on the multiple listing system immediately and to all agents and potential buyers. Some agents put it only on the agent-only remarks section. I encourage you to let buyers be aware as well, because very often the buyers are going to be checking that listing and they may see that pop up and go, whoa, wait a minute, the rules have changed, and they may call their agent to alert them. That is the only way to stay in compliance with the board's rule of maintaining a level playing field. So if you get offers that come in early, sight unseen, whatever it is, and your seller wants to accept them, then you need to make sure that the board and the agents are aware that the initial rule that the seller had has now changed. And that's the only way you can stay in compliance. Buyers are going to be upset about it. Buyers are going to say, hey, I was playing by the rules that you set. Well, they're actually rules that the seller set, and the seller has the right to change their minds. So it's not always our fault that the seller decides to change the rules of the game. And we have a responsibility to respond to what they have provided, the direction they want to go. But we better get it in writing, and we better broadcast it out to the MLS, or we will probably find ourselves in a grievance situation. So, again, any questions? I'm about 5 minutes done, or 5 minutes till 1:30. So, if there are no other questions, I'm probably going to say, stay cool out there. Just chill out. Have yourself a little umbrella. I couldn't find any umbrellas. I'm sorry. I apologize. But this is as close as I got. A little lemonade. Chill out. Take a vacation. Weekend off. It'll feel better. It'll feel better Monday. All right. Have a good one.